I'm here at Morrow Mountain State Park. The land and waters of Morrow Mountain have been a focal point of human activity for thousands of years. Discover our rich natural and cultural history. This is a protected archaeological site. Apparently a very important one. I'm at Morrow Mountain State Park, and there's a little museum here. It's about 94 degrees. It's really hot today, and the lizards are seeking shade. There's one right there. Right here is Morrow Mountain. And I've been camping somewhere in there. At least 10,000 years ago, American Indians discovered abundant resources in the Uwharrie Mountains. Tracking herds and hunting large game, these early North Carolinians found the local rock known as rhyolite was perfect for crafting tools and spear points. Their way of life changed, and small game hunting and fishing led to more sophisticated tool making. Points and spearheads made from Morrow Mountain rhyolite have appeared up and down the East Coast, indicating this area was a major contributor to regional American Indian culture. Remnants of this sharp stone remain today at the prehistoric quarry at the top of Morrow Mountain. This is rhyolite here. You could see it's smooth. It's better for making tools than this would have been. This is coarse, so you want to look for the smooth stuff. Rhyolite was formed hundreds of millions of years ago by a thick magma that cooled and hardened. Once buried as a result of movements in the Earth's crust, it was exposed by erosion over hundreds of millions of years. Some displays here. Let's see what they got. It says flint knapping is the name of the process for making flaked or chipped stone tools. This technology was used to create spear, dart points, arrowheads, knives, scrapers, blades, and other useful items. The best rock for making tool is somewhat brittle and uniform in texture and structure, like the rhyolite found on Morrow Mountain. Rhyolite, when struck with a rock, piece of antler, or bone, will fracture or break in a characteristic pattern called a conchoidal fracture. This rock fragment is called a flake. The making of a stone tool begins with a piece of raw material called a core. Flakes are removed by striking the edge of the core with a sharp, forceful blow in what is called percussion flaking. Hard hammer stones of basalt or soft hammers made out of an antler were used to create the flakes. A stone flake has features that identify it as a work of human hands rather than the result of a natural process. The edges being worked must be ground dull with a piece of sandstone rock prior to flake removal. This is the dulling that helps prevent edge collapse. Soft hammers were used because they allow greater control of the flaking. Soft hammers do not pass as much energy to the core and will absorb some of the force. Not all the time, sometimes it explodes in your hand. The napper applies downward and outward pressure to snap off a flake. This method can straighten and sharpen the edges of a finished tool or shape a tool from flake to final form. So, spall, edged piece, preform, final arrowhead or spear point. They got more, this is Paleo-Indian era. So these are the foreshafts with the spearheads on them. That black stuff is pine pitch wrapped with probably deer sinew. And the scrapers and side scrapers were mostly used to scrape flesh from hides. Side scrapers were used for a variety of purposes, including skinning, scraping, and cutting of meat and skin. They were also used in bone and woodworking. Scrapers were often crude but effective tools. The term paleo means old or ancient. It is used to refer to the first people that came to this area at least 12,000 years ago. Paleo-Indians lived in an environment that was much different than that of today. The weather was cooler and large animals such as mastodons, mammoths, ground sloths, giant bison roamed the forest and grasslands. Smaller mammals such as buffalo, bear, moose, elk also lived in the area but are now extinct here. Not too far away at Cherokee Forest, they reintroduced elk. Paleo-Indians used heavy spears to hunt large prey such as mastodon and giant bison. Smaller animals were also hunted. Paleo-Indians gathered nuts, berries, and other plants for food. They moved often to take advantage of seasonal sources of food, much like their descendants during the archaic period that followed. Relatively little is known about these first people of North Carolina, as artifacts from this period are scarce. Their nomadic way of life and small populations made it difficult to find sites they once occupied and to find artifacts associated with them. And this is more spear points. It's going to be difficult to see. That's a really well polished celt. It's pretty much an axe. This would have been an arrow, but an incredibly short one. That wouldn't work very well. Whoever made that. Take a little look down the trail here. It's a good place to come and look and learn and As you can see, that's all rhyolite. But you're not allowed to pick up or take anything from any state parks. But it's really cool to look at. Always lots of people around, having a good time. It's a really beautiful place. Just have to look out for rattlesnakes. I like to rest in the sun on trails like this. This is an archaeological site and it is protected. It is against the law to pick up any rock, any mineral, or anything like any of this. It would be completely unethical to touch any of it because this is what ancient people worked with. And it has not all been studied. There is more to learn. People don't realize that there is more to learn. In North Carolina here, not much is known about the Paleo-Indian period. And I could guarantee you that if an archaeologist came here and did a study, that they would find evidence. I've had people say to me that there's nothing left to be learned by archaeologists. And looking at all this, I would have to say I completely disagree with you. And I'm glad this place is protected. People for thousands of years sitting here quarrying this stuff. And it's all over the place. So cool. Walking on history here.